Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
And I want to start right here with this very interesting tweet from Crypto Eerie. She is quoting a CEO who says the war between legacy and fintech is a phony one. Fintechs are perfectly placed to build the next generation financial services, including through partnerships with providers like Ripple. So this is super interesting because I've seen a lot of people since the Ripple SEC case started automatically assume that a lot of what we're watching is the legacy banking companies and the legacy payment providers using their leverage with government to essentially go after the fintechs to slow them down so the legacy companies would have less competition. Well, this quote right here from this CEO, and he works at Business Cloud, is actually very interesting because he's saying none of this is true at all. He says a lot of these legacy companies actually need the fintechs as much as the fintechs need them. And it makes a ton of sense because these legacy companies have the connection set up, they have all the liquidity, they have all the funds, they have all the partnerships, but they don't have the tech. Each one of these, the fintech and the legacy solutions, have what each other's craves, and therefore a partnership between them makes a lot more sense than one of them trying to run over the other. In a world where they can both work together and both succeed, it makes both companies build stronger businesses and stronger network effects, and I think this is a really great point. But also, with this great point, it puts to bed a lot of the speculation that what we're watching right now in the Ripple SEC case was these legacy institutions essentially attacking fintechs like Ripple. Well, if that's the case, what are we really watching? And I think a start to that has to be what Bill Hinman said, what he believed is a good way to raise funds if you were starting a crypto project. And hopefully my volume is loud enough for this, so just be careful here.
That the VC community's gotten to the point where they're encouraging folks that have a coin-based idea or blockchain idea to raise their funds in more conventional ways, because those are securities offerings, so there's no need to extend yourself with an ICO type structure, and get your framework built, get the ICO network, whatever, where are we going to use that token, have that up and running to the point, so that when you issue the token, it's clear that's used on that network, not as a security, but for its functionality.
Boom. So right there, we have Bill Hinman, and I hope you guys can hear that, but he was saying, if you want to start a blockchain company and use a token, raise money, build the blockchain, and then use the token for utility. Well, who does this sound like? Ripple. This is exactly what Ripple did. Ripple did exactly what Bill Hinman said, and they did it in a way where they used XRP as a utility token and not to fund the blockchain. So with that said, why is the SEC choosing to go after Ripple right now when they had much easier targets? It is very obvious that Ethereum did everything Bill Hinman said not to do, and yet the SEC has chosen to sue Ripple and not Ethereum. Well, I'm going to show you that the SEC might not have intended to win this case because they had an easy case against Ethereum and chose to turn it down and instead chose to go after a company that didn't even do an ICO. There's tons of other companies that did ICOs that the SEC could have gone after, but instead they chose a company that did everything right, and what I'm going to show you guys is why they chose to do this. Well, first, we understand, and this is a hilarious picture, that Ripple is integrated with everyone. Central banks, governments, the biggest banks in the entire world. This is a picture of a former member of Ripple meeting with Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, and he tweeted out, I'll say it again, this matters, XRP to standard. XRP and Ripple are not going anywhere. They were already tied in with the biggest governments, the biggest banks, and had the connections to win any lawsuit, had the funds to fight an organization like the SEC. But why would the SEC bring up this case if, based on everything they said in the past, their argument was piss poor? Well, it all comes back to this, and it's a theory that I've been putting out there, that Digital Asset has been putting out there, and that is that everything we are watching right now is all a show to put the regulations on the table so that there could be a hallmark cryptocurrency case created that everyone can follow. Everyone could look to this court case and use it as a test to lay down the starting framework of what would be the foundations for digital currency regulation in America. And right here, and if you guys didn't see my video the other day, this I thought was massive. This is an article from 2018 from a lawyer essentially completely predicting the exact Ripple SEC case we were watching right now before any of it happened. This article says Ripple Labs case will address key questions in the cryptocurrency industry, and specifically the question of whether or not assets like Ether, Ripple, and Bitcoin qualify as securities under US securities law. How was he able to envision this exact lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC before any of it was made public? It's because it was all a plan. This guy directly says we may be back with our friends from the Treasury and the Federal Reserve and ask for additional legislation. Until then, we eagerly wait to see what the courts will say. What he is directly telling us back in 2018, before any of this happened, before Ripple got sued, before the SEC was even dipping their foot into crypto, he was telling us that there will be a hallmark case to lay down the future of regulations. Once we have this hallmark case that everyone could look to, then different organizations like the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, Congress will use this case and build legislation around it to help guide the market. I tweeted out back in October 23rd of 2021, and OGs of the channel probably remember this, but I tweeted out the SEC lawsuit versus Ripple's sole purpose was to give clarity to the market. The SEC can't choose if an asset is a security or not. They can only enforce securities law already created. With that said, the courts can make something a security, and so can Congress. Unfortunately, Congress is too busy doing nothing to focus on digital assets. So the only way to create law was through the courts. Why can't the SEC just give more Hinman speeches? He only gave market guidance, not clarity. ETH technically could still be declared a security. The SEC does not have the power to declare things as security or not. This needs to be written in law through the courts. The SEC's lawyers could fight this case as hard as they wanted, but the fundamental argument was wrong from the start. XRP is not a security of Ripple, it's securitized by the XRPL. XRP does not depend on the health of Ripple, it depends on the health of the XRP ledger. Jay Clayton set up this lawsuit, he knew he was going to lose, and then left. This lawsuit was never meant to be won. It was to create clarity in the market. Security or no security, one thing is clear. One thing is clear. This is the Ripple test, and the outcome will define all of crypto. The SEC put every charge possible on the board and threw it at Ripple so the court could hash out what will stick and what won't. They gave it everything, they threw it all out there so that all these key issues could be defined. That is why we see the SEC making absurd claims that they could never prove. It's because they never intended to prove them. They were only there to put this entire lawsuit and all these different issues on the world stage so everyone can see how they will be addressed going forward in the United States. I hope that was clear. I hope you guys enjoyed that take. Last of all, the newest Gary Gensler corruption. The XRP community has uncovered possible corruption at the SEC involving Ripple, and the claim of XRP is a security while Ethereum gets a free pass. Now we find out that Gary Gensler was involved in a possible payment that led to treason while working at the Clinton campaign. And as we can see, the news articles are starting to catch up. Biden's current SEC chair, Gary Gensler, was Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign CFO when money flowed from her campaign to pay for different issues going on at the time. What this means is the walls are closing in on Gary, closing in on the SEC. The more of these issues that come to be, the more pressure Gary's going to have to get different people off his back. It is clear that the Ripple SEC case is nothing more than a show. The more pressure he gets from us investors, from Congress, the more he's going to be incentivized to end this thing so he can deal with other issues.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.